English translation. 693rd Contact Tuesday, the 31st of October 2017, 10:43 hours.
Ah, there you are already, my friend. Greetings, Ptaah, and thanks for coming so quickly.
I also greet you, Edouard, dear friend. Yes, I came as soon as I could. But Quetzal will also come in a moment, as well as a member of our panel who wants to meet you, for we have some things to discuss with you in a common way, which shall not be in an official way then.
I see, and if they are here then I will hear what it is about, so I do not have a question about that now. But what I am interested in, and what is important, that relates to what I told Anjana and what she should report to you.
Of course, that is the importance of why I come here. What Anjana told me today on your behalf prompted me to contact Quetzal and our committee, and also to tell Anjana that she should tell you from Quetzal, from me and from our committee, that you have acted correctly with the decision you made together with Andreas, and that the whole thing is in our sense and in the sense of the Figu, which in every respect must preserve its freedom in every conceivable way and always decide accordingly. And regarding this matter, I have brought the draft we prepared in 1975, which was basically intended as an introduction and preamble to the statutes, but was then omitted because there was no need for it at the time. The whole thing was also aimed at clarifying what is meant by the term. Name or title Figu Freie Interessengemeinschaft Universelle, especially the term frei or free, which is assigned a special meaning by us, which is clarified in our concept. But now the whole thing is to be taken up again and raised at the General Assembly next weekend to bring about a resolution to insert the necessary introduction into the statutes and bylaws. Because this is obviously now.
Sorry, the gate, it is Flick.
Yes, that's us, Herjold Note Billy, he who speaks plainly, and I, Quetzal. Greetings, my friend. Herjald does not know the German language, but the language conversion device will not cause any communication difficulties.
I also think so, but I too greet you, Edouard, or should I say Billy. I am very pleased to be able to meet you, because I have always been interested in getting in touch with you personally, which unfortunately has only come up now and does not allow much time with regard to a private conversation. Quetzal and I, unfortunately we both cannot stay here for a long time.
Welcome, both of you. I am pleased to greet you, and it is an honor to also meet you, Herjald. And of course you can use whatever name you like for me, because I am used to both, along with a few others. In addition, I would like to say in response to your comment that there are always situations in life where time plays an important role and must be acted upon, as is the case now. But what is not the case now can be made up for later, especially since through the gate for the back and forth for a visit to me, no more time is needed. Consequently, you can simply visit me in private at your own discretion, whenever it suits you. I will also say that we have a rule of recording all our conversations unless they are of a purely private nature.
Then I will call you Edouard. And I am of course aware of the rule about recording conversations that are not of a private nature. However, what you are now offering me, to visit you at my own discretion, I gladly accept.
If you come here and I am not in my office, I mean here in my workroom, then you can call me by impulse, which I am sure you can do.
7 Of course that is possible for me, yes. But now I must insist that we all discuss the urgent things that need to be done. Therefore, we should begin by taking what arises as the reason for our meeting into the word. Ptaah carries with him the necessary documents for this purpose, which he shall now carry out to you.
Is it possible that I can write everything down with my computer? It would only have to be spoken a little slowly, so that I do not get into a skid or do not like to keep up with the writing.
That should be possible because you are quite nimble with it.
Good, then I will begin. FIGU, Free Interest Group Universal, expanded in use and referred to as Free Interest Group for Border and Human Sciences and Ufology Studies 1. The term, name and title, FIGU Freie Interessengemeinschaft Universelle, embodies for the community and all its members the state of independence, freedom from oppression and unrestricted self-determination, completely free from religion and politics, in an association-given manner. This, however, in consideration of the decrees, laws, and ordinances of the state to be obeyed, which in necessity prevail and guarantee the orderly and clear state of being of the state order. A. The free of the FIGU Free Universal Community of Interest determines the absolute freedom to remain of the community with regard to any form of external ties and contracts, etc., with private or legal persons outside the free universal community of interest, as well as groups and organizations, etc. B. The free of the FIGU Free Universal Community of Interests determines for all its members the absolute freedom in every personality-related relationship, be it with regard to their own determinations, decisions, actions, deeds, and behavior, etc., so that these are taken and carried out in every form independently in personal self-responsibility. 2. Just as the state needs its own decrees, laws and ordinances, etc., to maintain order. This is also indispensable for the FIGU Free Universal Community of Interests. Consequently, every person voluntarily joins it when he becomes a member of the community, because only through the lawful order and its observance can the FIGU Free Universal Community of Interests endure and bring success in a progressive way. 3. The meaning of free or free of the FIGU Free Universal Community of Interests corresponds to a complete freedom from external agreements, contracts, arrangements, settlements, provisions, alliances, demands, conventions, agreements, and etc., which would in any way restrict the meaning of community freedom with regard to free action, activity, and free behavior. 4. With regard to FIGU's own affairs, the absolute freedom of determination and action of the FIGU Free Universal Interest Group must in any case be guaranteed at all times, although these must be compatible with the prevailing state order and its decrees, laws, and ordinances, etc. 5. Oral or written decisions, contracts or other agreements between the FIGU Free Universal Community of Interest and parties external to it of any kind may not take place if the FIGU's own direct freedom of determination and direct control of a thing or a state, etc., by the FIGU Free Universal Community of Interest is thereby undermined or endangered. 6. Oral or written decisions. Contracts or other agreements between the FIGU Free Universal Community of Interests and parties external to it may only take place if they concern security aspects, compensation for damages and the like, as well as precisely calculated and necessary loans within a responsible framework. Note Ptaah, enfeoffments, equal-sign mortgages, insurances, etc. 7. Oral or written decisions. Contracts or other agreements between the FIGU Freie Interessengemeinschaft Universelle and parties external to it may only be made if it is a question of unavoidable requirements for new, orderly, safety, or maintenance-related external craft services and special areas of work, for which specialized workers external to FIGU must be called in. 8. The members of the FIGU Freie Interessengemeinschaft Universelle are free in their way of thinking as well as in their views and opinions, which means that they are also absolutely free to make and implement their own decisions for their actions, deeds, and behavior. 9. The members of the FIGU Free Interest Group Universal strive with regard to their inner and outer freedom according to their own will and mental capacity absolutely freely for their personal self-realization, their own freedom of opinion, and for the freedom as well as the interests of the Figu community. 10. The Figu Free Interest Group Universal as such, as well as all its members of each grouping, have to do everything within the framework of freedom and in accordance with the state and the Figu order in the way and personal responsibility, which is found to be correct in personal logic and clear knowledge as well as in intellect and reason. 11. Freedom is to be understood as the possibility to choose and decide without coercion or other negative influence in a thoroughly considered and correct manner. Comprehensively considering and taking into account at the same time Figu's own as well as state legal dimensions and orders in a human, liberal, peaceful, psychological, social, and cultural way. 12. The freedom of the Figu Free Universal Interest Group as such is neither religious, sectarian, nor political, but with regard to political activity, all Figu members are free to act politically according to their own will and discretion. 13. All Figu members do not belong to any religion, religious, or other sect, nor to any group or organization punishable by the state or by law. 14. The free. Being free and the freedom of the Figu Freie Interessengemeinschaft Universelle corresponds to a state that allows the community and each member to act in every respect in accordance with the appropriate order of the community and the state, as well as to make use of the available facilities and their possibilities in a righteous manner, without being affected by any external pressures and constraints. The Figu Free Interest Group Universal cultivates its righteous expectations, habits, conventions, morals, actions, doings, and behavior, as well as its established order, etc., completely freely, and uses these values as the key to cultivating its honor, dignity, freedom, and peace. The free of the Figu Free Interest Group Universal, while respecting and upholding the laws, decrees and ordinances, etc. of the state as well as the community order, guarantees in all cases the personal freedom of the community members, as well as unrestricted civil and human freedom. So this corresponds exactly to the concept that Quetzal and I, together with our committee, had worked out for the term, name, and title for the Figu Free Interest Group Universal, which was intended as an introduction and preface to the statutes.
However, we still have a lot to discuss about this and other matters. I will begin with this.
The time is now advanced, which is why we, Herjold and I, now that everything has been discussed and is clear, have to go about our further obligation. Goodbye, my friend Edouard, and I also wish to remain henceforth by this name of yours.
I also take my leave and say once again that I am very happy to have made your acquaintance. And in honesty I must say that I am very considerably surprised, for your personality, your nature, and your mastery of consistency go high beyond the value of my thought image. I must confess this ashamedly, and for my too low a thought image I beg your indulgence.
Excuse me, what can I say? You should not worry about that. So everything is good and not worth mentioning. So be comforted, and gladly I expect to see you again, and to be able to talk to you privately.
You have only one option, which is to accept what he says.
Thanks, Edouard. Then we have to go now, but with my thoughts I have to be alone for some time to be able to understand some things. Farewell now, Edouard, and I will certainly visit you again.
Then I too wish to see you again. Farewell and goodbye. And also to you, Quetzal, my friend, goodbye again.
I also must attend to my further duties and leave Edouard, my friend. And now that they are both gone, I want to tell you that I have never seen Herjold so deeply impressed as just now. That makes me think, Edward, and I think I must talk to him. But now I really must go and say goodbye to you too, dear friend.
Exactly. Goodbye and see you again soon. Take care, Ptaah, dear friend.